Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I found a story on Reddit that honestly made me stop for a second. At first, it sounds like a normal life story, just a guy working hard, trying to build a better future for his family. But then, one night he checks his bank account and everything he believed for the last 3 years completely falls apart. And honestly, what he discovers is the kind of betrayal that changes the way you see people forever. So, yeah, let's get into the story. I'm a 32-year-old guy living in Ohio. I work in construction, and to be honest, the job isn't easy. My alarm goes off every morning at 5 a.m., and most days I don't get home until around 6 in the evening. It's long hours, hard work, but it pays around $85,000 a year, which is good enough for the kind of life I want to build. My wife, let's call her Nicole, is 30 and works as a secretary in a small medical clinic. We've been married for 7 years. We also have a 4-year-old son. I'll call him Adam. For years, I had one simple dream. Not a mansion, not some luxury house, just a normal home. 3 bedrooms, a small yard where my son could play, maybe a garage where I could work on things during the weekends. I grew up in a tiny apartment with my mom. We never had a house of our own. Before my mom passed away from cancer 3 years ago, she told me something that stayed in my head ever since. She held my hand in the hospital and said, "One day you'll buy your own house, and I'll be proud of you." She didn't live long enough to see it happen, but I promised myself I would make that dream come true. About 3 years ago, my wife and I started talking seriously about buying a house. We decided we needed to start saving. Nicole actually suggested that she handle the finances. She had always been the one paying bills and organizing everything, and since I worked long hours, it made sense. So we opened a savings account dedicated only to the house. Every month, I would transfer around $1,200 into that account, sometimes more. Nicole would occasionally show me the balance on her phone. "Look," she'd say, smiling, "we already saved $8,000. A few months later, now we have 14,000. After a year, look, we're already at 22,000. Every time she showed me the number, I felt proud, like the dream was getting closer. About a year ago, I had one of the hardest work days I can remember. 10 hours straight on a job site. When I got home, my son ran to the door yelling, "Daddy!" But I was so exhausted, my hands were literally shaking. I could barely pick him up. That moment hit me harder than anything. I told Nicole that night, "Our son needs more space. He needs a yard. I don't want him growing up stuck in an apartment like I did." She agreed, and a few months later, she told me we had about $45,000 saved. That was enough for the down payment on a small house. I started browsing houses every night. Eventually, I found one that felt perfect. 3 bedrooms, a garage, a yard with a big tree. When I showed it to my son, he pointed to the picture and said, "Dad, I want to climb that tree." That moment felt like everything was finally coming together. The house cost $275,000, and the down payment required about $41,000. We had enough, so I contacted a real estate agent. The meeting went well. The agent told me everything looked good. My income, my credit score, all of it. But before we could move forward, he asked for the last 6 months of bank statements from the savings account. "No problem," I said. "My wife manages the account. She'll send them tomorrow." But the next day, she didn't send them. 2 days later, still nothing. When I asked her, she said she was busy. Then she got annoyed and said I was pressuring her. That's when something started to feel wrong. 7 years of marriage. I knew her well enough to feel when something wasn't right. That night, she went to sleep early with our son. And for the first time in 7 years, I did something I had never done before. I checked her phone. I knew the password. It was our son's birthday. I opened the banking app. Then I opened the savings account. and the number on the screen made my stomach drop. $2,314. That's it. Not 45,000, not even close, just $2,000. I refreshed the page 3 times, thinking it was some kind of mistake, but it wasn't. I sat there in silence. Then I opened the transaction history. That's when the real truth appeared. Every month, Nicole really had been depositing the money, but a few days later, she would withdraw it. Sometimes $800, sometimes $1,500, sometimes $2,000. And every single transfer went to the same person, her sister. Over 32 months, the total amount transferred was $43,700, almost exactly the amount she kept telling me we had saved. I didn't sleep that night. The next morning, I placed the phone on the kitchen table with the transaction history open. Nicole walked into the kitchen. She saw the screen and instantly froze. I looked at her and calmly said, $43,000 sent to your sister. I wake up every morning at 5 thinking we're building our future, and this is what you've been doing? She started crying immediately. Then she told me the story. 3 years ago, her sister's husband lost his business. They were about to lose their house. Nicole said the first transfer was only $500, but then another emergency happened, and another, and another. She said she couldn't let her sister and her kids end up homeless, so she kept sending money, month after month, for 3 years, without telling me. Later that day, I drove to her sister's house. I expected to see a family struggling to survive, but the house looked normal. Nice furniture, big TV, kids playing in the yard. Her husband had already found another job a year ago, and no one had ever told me about the money. Not once. When I returned home, I asked Nicole one final question. Did your mother know about this? She closed her eyes and nodded. Apparently, her mother had encouraged her to do it. She told her, family comes first. Your husband will understand later. That night, I realized something painful. In her family, there was an unwritten rule. Family always comes first, even above marriage, even above promises, even above the future we were building together. I didn't divorce her, not because I forgave her, but because our son is only 4 years old. Instead, I opened a new savings account in my own name. Every dollar goes there now, and slowly, I'm starting again from zero. Sometimes my son still asks me, Dad, when are we getting the house with the big tree? And every time he asks, I smile and say, Soon, buddy, we're working on it. But the truth is, that dream is a lot farther away now than it used to be. And that's the end of today's story. Honestly, stories like this make you think twice about the people around you and the secrets they might be hiding. If you enjoyed this story and want to hear more real stories from Reddit, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. It really helps the channel grow and lets me bring you more stories just like this. Also, tell me in the comments, what would you do in this situation? Thanks for watching, and remember, see you in the next story.